You know, it was always, let me actually get my rebuttal response ready.
Oh, I was ready. So if John is talking, or if we'd be in a disagreement, he'd be talking, I'd be like, okay, once he takes a breath, I'm going to just, as I was saying.
3, 2, 1, blast off!
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are back, fighting the fray. We had some technical difficulties, but we want to thank you guys for being patient and sticking with us. We're still in the series of things I wish I knew before I said I do, and today we're going to be talking about the benefits of disagreements and how we resolve them.
Absolutely, and as we talk about this topic, one thing that comes to mind is, you know, early on, one of our first episodes, we talked about how early on in our marriage, we would face challenges, and we realized that those challenges could really disrupt the love and the joy and, you know, the peace that we wanted to establish in our home and in our marriage. And I would say that one of the challenges that we would face is just disagreements. And the disagreements that we would face, it's something where literally we were just not seeing eye to eye. So that's the definition of disagreements that we would, you know, really be able to undertake. And when we didn't see eye to eye, it would last. It would linger on. And probably in one of the areas that sticks out the most to me is when we would go on vacations or dates.
And for us, we had a negative perception in regards to disagreements. There was you could not have told me that disagreements are beneficial. It's like, no, it's a mood killer, it's disrupting us. But honestly, disagreements are beneficial.
Yeah.
As you're growing to learn more and more about someone that's totally different from you, you're becoming one. And we all, well, not that we all know, we had to find out that marriage is striving to be one.
Yeah.
And just because we're striving to be one, there's that process, and we are totally two different people, but it doesn't mean that that process of becoming one has to be a sour process.
Right. So. Right. And I think whenever we went through that process, meaning as we strove and we started becoming one, one benefit that we started to experience was, okay, we started getting less irritable. We started getting more patient. I started getting more patient. I can wait a couple of minutes now for Paige to get ready, and thank God for that patience that is growing. It's growing.
But even as we're going through disagreements and learning, one thing that I've come to find out is as we tackle, because the disagreement of timeliness, like that is kind of a small.
Yeah, it's probably minor.
Yeah, it definitely is a minor disagreement. But when we would like kind of tackle those bigger disagreements, it would kind of give me confidence. Like, whoa, we were able to handle that disagreement. What else can't we do? Right. You know, it really instilled confidence in our relationship as a whole. So.
Right.
We were talking about the process of coming together to be one and how that process doesn't have to be sour. And I think that there are certain things that we can do to try and set the mood that when we do have those disagreements or conflicts, that they're not unpleasant.
Yeah.
And John kind of alluded to it in regards to listening. And I can say from my perspective, I won't say a woman's perspective because we're all different, but I'll speak for myself, and ladies, if you agree, you can kind of like wink at me. Earlier in marriage, when we would have disagreements, I did not really care sorry, John, I did not really care what you had to say. If we didn't see eye to eye, my only goal in the conversation was so that you would understand me, you would comprehend what I wanted you to do, and you would do it.
So she would lawyer that thing, you know, it was always, let me actually get my rebuttal response ready.
Oh, I was ready. So if John is talking, or if we'd be in a disagreement and he'd be talking, I'd be like, okay, once he takes a breath, I'm gonna as I was saying, you know, like, and that's not right. I mean, it shouldn't be a scenario where I'm just trying to input my frame of mind as opposed to just trying to understand you.
And I think for me, you know, listening, it became a different, you know, sort of paradigm shift where it's like, okay, all right, we're having this discussion. She wants me to solve it. I'm not even really tuning in to actually feeling her and understanding her and actually being empathetic. I'm just like, okay, does she need a solution right now? All right, let me analyze what she's saying. Let me get to a solution. And all of that is dangerous whenever we're talking about actually having a beneficial, conflict. I mean, I think the other thing is whenever we're setting the mood and setting up boundaries is the best time to do it is not when we're in conflict. Somebody make that decision, right, or not right now, but make that decision whenever you do discuss like, hey, these are our boundaries. These are the things that we're not going to accept. We're not going to curse at one another. We're not going to yell at one another. We're not going to, storm out or, run to our rooms and, do things of which is going to not allow us to be able to work through the disagreement and be able to actually be able to come together as one.
Right, because we always have to remember, the goal of a disagreement is to understand each other and to grow together. Like that's what the purpose of that's the end goal of what a disagreement is. And I think another thing that would help that to be, a pleasant process is to be cognizant. Sorry, there's something in my eye. Okay, I'm ready. Is to be cognizant of time. Like, if you only have 15 minutes or something, that's not the time to bring an issue that's been on your heart for hours. I was going to say hours, because you're not supposed to hold on to something for a month.
I mean, but sometimes it's something where it's honestly, it's a not a disagreement, but it's a conversation that you're going to have where that it's been actually resting on your heart for a while. Okay, well, you've been trying to navigate and figure out the best time, and now as you're talking about time, like just giving it to, all right, now is the best time, let's just go into it.
Right, so it's really important to think that, hey, okay, if I have 15 minutes, it's not time for a heavy disagreement. It's not time for a heavy conversation. Let's try and, save it for later.
And I think that one of the best things that we learned was, hey, we want to have a peaceful conversation where we're both able to be in the right frame of mind. Yeah. There is absolutely nothing wrong with inviting the Prince of Peace into your conversations or into our conflicts so that we can actually have a peaceful conversation.
Yeah.
There's 3 ways of which we can actually go about those. I mean, one of the first ways is, my way.
To resolve it.
To resolve our disagreements. Yeah. It's like, it's my way. Yeah. It's basically one person saying, hey, I'm going to completely give up my perspective towards it, and I'm going to completely agree with whatever your view is on it, so that, hey, it ends up being my way, or as like she said, her way.
Right, and I think it's important, like, when we say my way, that's still something that requires conversation and things of that nature. It's not just like, okay, one person is always compromising. It should be kind of like a thought out thing, because at the end of the day, when we have disagreements, both people want to walk away feeling respected, feel like their voices were heard. So for that reason, I say that I don't think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that it should always be one person compromising every single time.
No, I would definitely agree with that, but that's a conversation that has to be had within itself. Agreed. A peaceful conversation of where you both come together, and decide that we're going to do it my way, or we're going to do it your way, whatever it may be. Yeah. And then the other thing is just having that actual meeting in the middle, meaning that both of us came together and we were like, hey, I'm gonna take a little bit of what you thought. I thought about a lot of what I was thinking. Let's both come together and meet in the middle on this and be able to now move forward together with us having the likeness in mind. And the third one, which I would say for us is something we're still striving towards, it's something that does require a lot of patience and a lot of time, is being able to say, like, save it for later. That's something where it requires us to really be mutually respectful of one another's feelings and views, to where we can get to a point of saying, like, hey, I know I'm really, really passionate about this right now, but let's save it for later. Let's save it and identify a time where it's like, hey, 30 minutes from now, when the kids go to bed, put some sort of finality to when you're going to be able to come back together and discuss it to resolve it, and say, hey, we're saving it for later until then.
Agreed. So one of the things that we really had to grow to understand is, in these disagreements when we're not seeing eye to eye and I might be angry, or you might be angry, this is still my best friend. We are still partners in life.
That's babe.
Thanks. We're partners in life that just don't see eye to eye right now. And it's important, that was something that was important for us to kind of assume that mentality because it helped us take a more positive approach on disagreements.
Right. And I mean, one thing that we mentioned earlier on, and I think we really want to just walk away with is the best time for us to be able to actually proactively take on a positive perspective towards conflicts is right now when we're outside of conflict.
Yeah.
That way we're able to establish the mood that we want to be able to have in our disagreements. We're able to establish
You said the mood.
Yeah, not that kind of mood, but hey,
Just kidding.
Anyway, but we're able to establish the mood. We're able to also establish the boundaries, and then we're also able to keep that frame in mind of like, hey, we want a peaceful resolution. We are coming together as one. And then that allows us to be able to go forth into that disagreement and be able to actually walk away from it together. That's really the goal. And I think that's what we wanted to share this evening with you all. We thank you so much for really being patient with us. We thank you so much for all the feedback and all the love that's being shown. Until we see you all again, let's keep fighting the fray.
Oh yeah.